What Really Happened to Mary J. Blige? Mary J. Blige was born on January 11, 1971, in the Bronx, New York, to Cora and Thomas Blige. She grew up with her elder sister. However, all was not well in the family, as her parents spent most of their time fighting on petty issues and divorced when Mary was just 4 years of age. With what happened, not everyone can continue their own way of life firmly. Her mother took both the sisters along with her to Georgia. However, the lifestyle there did not suit them well, and she returned to New York and settled in a shady area, infested with rapists, murderers, and thieves. Mary spent most of her early days in constant fear for her life, amidst a not-so-ideal place for little girls. Soon, she grew extremely fond of hip-hop music, owing to the collection owned by her mother. Mary would practice singing every now and then. Her sister and mother supported her to take her passion forward, which made her win a local singing competition when she was 8 years old. Her occasional visits to her father also helped her in developing a keen taste in music, which continued with her performances at church choirs and family gatherings. As music consumed most of her time, she decided to quit high school while still in junior high. Following this, she concentrated only on her music projects. Her rough life there produced more than a few scars, physical. When she was at a local mall in White Plains, New York, she recorded herself singing Anita Baker's Caught Up in the Rapture into a karaoke machine. The resulting tape was passed by Blige's stepfather to Uptown Records CEO Andre Harrell. Harrell was impressed with Blige's voice and signed her to sing backup for local acts like Father MC. In 1991, however, Sean Puffy Combs took Blige under his wing and began working with her on What's the 411, her debut album. Combs had a heavy hand in What's the 411, as did producers Dave Hall, Mark Morales, and Mark Rooney, and the stylish touches that they added to Blige's unique vocal style created a stunning album that bridged the gap between R&B and hip-hop in a way that no singer had before. Uptown capitalized on the success by issuing What's the 411 remix a year later. Her 1995 follow-up, My Life, again featured Combs' handiwork, and if it stepped back stylistically from its urban roots by featuring less of a rap sound, it made up for it with its subject matter. My Life was full of street pathos, and Blige's personal pain shone through like a beacon. Her rocky relationship with fellow Uptown artist Casey Haley likely contributed to the raw emotions on the album. The period following the recording of My Life was also a difficult time professionally for Blige, as she severed her ties with Combs and Uptown, hired Suge Knight as a financial advisor, and signed with MCA. However, she soon won her first Grammy Awards, Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group for I'll Be There For You, You're All I Need to Get By, a duet with Method Man. Released in 1997, Share My World marked the beginning of Blige's creative partnership with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. The album was another hit for Blige and debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. By the time her next studio album, Mary, came out in 1999, the fullness and elegance of her relatively conventional sound seemed more developed, as Blige exuded a classic soul style aided by material from Elton John and Bernie Taupin, Stevie Wonder, and Lauryn Hill. Mary made it obvious that the street-grounded style and more confrontational aspects of her music were gone, while the emotive power still remained. That power also helped carry the more modern-sounding 2001 release No More Drama, a deeply personal album that remained a collective effort musically yet reflected more of Blige's songwriting than any of her previous efforts. The Mary J. Blige on No More Drama seemed miles away from the flashy kid on What's the 411. Yet it was still possible to see the path through her music that produced an older, wiser, but still expressive artist. In 2003 she was reunited with P. Diddy, who produced the majority of that year's Patchy Love and Life album. The breakthrough followed 2 years later and was a tremendous success, spawning a handful of major singles. By the December 2006 release of Reflections, the breakthrough's lead single, Be Without You, had spent nearly a year on the R&B chart, while the album's fifth single, Take Me As I Am, had been on the same chart for over 4 months. A year later, Blige came out with her eighth studio album, Growing Pains. It was her third consecutive studio album to top both the Billboard 200 and the R&B, hip-hop albums charts. While on tour with Robin Thicke during 2008, Blige began working on Stronger with Each Tear, which was released near the end of the following year and came one spot short of topping the Billboard 200. My Life 2. The Journey Continues followed in 2011 with appearances from Beyoncé, Drake, Rick Ross, and Busta Rhymes. Like her previous 9 studio albums, it reached gold status. Blige's next major move was a featured appearance on Kendrick Lamar's Now or Never, off the deluxe edition of the Grammy-nominated Good Kid, Mad City. A Merry Christmas, her first holiday album, Stuffed Stockings in 2013. Early in 2014, Blige linked with Disclosure for an alternate version of the UK dance production duo's single F For You. A few months later, Blige, supported by extensive assistance from The Dream and Christopher Tricky Stewart, as well as a few other associates, provided the soundtrack to the comedy Think Like a Man 2. It entered the Billboard Top 200 at number 30 and also reached the top 10 on Billboard's R&B, hip-hop albums chart. Released on Epic, rather than on her home label, it didn't receive the typical level of promotion for a Blige album. Inspired by Disclosure and other genre-blurring singer, songwriters and producers who were emerging from the UK, she recorded her 13th album in London that summer with the likes of Sam Smith, Naughty Boy, and Emily Sandé, as well as Disclosure once more. The London Sessions, her first album for Capitol, was released that November and placed 2 singles in the top 10 of Billboard's adult R&B chart. In late 2016 and early 2017, Blige released the first singles from her next proper studio album, including the Kanye West collaboration Love Yourself. The Parent full-length Strength of a Woman arrived in April 2017 and featured further guest spots from DJ Khaled, Missy Elliott, and Kaytranada. The album peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200. Accolades soon piled up for her role in the period drama film Mudbound. Most prominently, she was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, Best Supporting Actress and Best Original Song. Newly signed to Republic, Blige issued a handful of 2018 to 2019 singles, all of which hit the adult R&B chart. Among them was the Nas collaboration Thriving, a track that appeared ahead of the 2 artists co-headlining Summer 2019 tour. Mary J. Blige has often stated that she has had a troublesome personal life, as a child and even after earning fame. She resorted to drugs and alcohol during the early phases of her career, which she considers to be the darkest phase of her life. She met Kendu Isaacs in the early 2000s and stated that he made her fall in love with herself again. They married in 2003, but the association ended in 2016 when Mary filed for a divorce.